So a while back, I was browsing the internet and I saw this DIY 20-inch front motor hub, and it really looked like a Piaggio Bravo back rim, is what it reminded me of. Like this one right here. This is a Bravo 16-inch back rim, but it looked like almost identical to the one that was in that picture. This guy figured out how to do a rear hub, which looks a little too difficult because that frame doesn't line up. But since the back of this, they don't actually line up, this side's a little bit longer than this side, so you'd have to get some sort of modification or special bracket to do a rear hub. And I'm a gas and oil guy, so I think as long as the frame is still good, I would restore it so that you could still use it as a gas and oil engine. But what about the moped frames that are too far gone, that you can no longer use for gas and oil, but the frame is still good on? And it seems like these chows happen a lot. It's one of the things I like about the design, is that the tank is built into the frame, but if the tank goes bad, then you pretty much ditch the bike, unless you have another alternative, which could be changing it into an e-bike. So I've got a frame right here that I've restored. It had a puncture on the side here that I've gone ahead and epoxied a whole bunch and painted and get my leg out of the shot. And then I've gone and resealed the tank like the bearded mechanic. He said just get some of that tank sealer and put it in there and leave it in there if you don't ever plan on using the tank for gas again. So it's sealed up really good from the inside, to the point where I could probably put gas in it now. But the last time I put this together, the gas worked its way between the Bondo and it wound up opening it up. So I think this time this frame is going to be built into an e-bike. So this is the front wheel and this is my back wheel. I've already got tires and the rim tape and everything put on it. One of the things I had to do was cut that little nub that goes right there off, and I wish these were a little bit wider. I think they're bent. If you can see, this side kind of angles out a little more than this side if I hold them up straight. But this actually works pretty good setting on there. The only thing is the brake. So I know that you can do this brake onto here, but I don't know if I have enough room to get that custom arm thing on there because of the way these little fork pieces are made. So it fits and it works. There's a little area where these Allen heads are almost bumping. I don't know if you can see it maybe from back here. It's not tight either, but those Allen heads almost hit right there. So I think that's mostly because of this front fork being a little bent. If it was about a ½ inch wider, I think it would be better. I mean, it's a little bit weird because it's not tightened, but it seems to work. So I have to put a fender on this guy, and then I have to figure out the brake. Either I do try to figure out if I can make a brake work down here. If not, then I might just do like what they did on the old school chows, is just put a U-brake up top here, something to slow it down and to cut the speed a little bit. Catching up with the e-bike. Let's see where I'm at. Got the headlight on. Remember that was part. The brakes, the grips, the thumb throttle, which at some point I want to turn to a twist throttle. Got the front wheels on, and then when I was messing around with it the other day, I was kind of testing it and giving it like some side hits because these are dropouts, and this thing actually came out. So what I did, these type of forks usually have this little like skateboard washer. It's like a little dome washer that goes over. You can kind of see it here, this little part. It's like a little dome, and then that cap fits over it and it kind of locks it on there a little bit better. So I got one on this side by drilling it out, but to get one on this side, I have to get it, I guess, over this cap piece. Okay, so I have to get it over this piece here, which means I either have to cut these wires and remove this to slide that washer on, or yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Or see if there's a way that I can undo these prongs from inside this little clip, and then back them out, slide the washer over, and then bring it down to lock this on. So I might just leave it as is until I can test, till I get the battery, which is on the way, and I can test it, and then mess with it. And if it doesn't work after it, then I know it was something that I did. It wasn't that the battery came and it was wrong or something. So looking pretty good. I was painting a side box, but I actually had the wrong side. It was a battery box, and for some reason this rack did not have a spot up here for that. It looks like the other holes line up pretty good for it. Something like that, but I either needed to drill a hole there or get one that would go on this side, because this side has that hole. So I've got, technically this is a battery box, it came as a battery box. This one would be considered a toolbox because it's on the left side. So I've got a toolbox, I'm going to repaint it. About as good as I painted this bike. Wish I'd have done a little better job on that. I just happened to notice that. Oh, and my taillight. I do have a taillight on it now. It's pretty funny. There's a smart light in there as a taillight. I can take that off and show it to you once I throw this back over here. So it's probably shut off already. So I have to have at least a taillight on it when I'm driving it during the day. I mean, I guess you could go without a headlight. It would be nice to have one. I haven't figured that out yet. I saw there were some mountain bike lights that I might be able to modify to power this. It would be nice to have a horn and a headlight, but for the tail light, I put a little smart light in there, and basically, there you go, activates from motion. And I'll pop this off and show you guys what I do. Alright, so this is my rigging, and I actually have these on my other bikes too. I put smart lights, you know, because I've got my running light. I removed the negative ground wire, and so that thing, if the bulb burns out, the bike wouldn't start, so I bypass that and ground the engines on the inside. But I do believe in these really bright lights that you can put on the side there. Those are smart lights, so they have a bright red stream to them while they're going, and then if you slow down or you change your speed, it gets even brighter. So it actually works as a brake light. Same with this one over here. This one's kind of hard to turn on sometimes. There it goes. So at least I have two lights behind me. During the day anyhow, I don't ride at night. But on this guy, and to wake him up, you just hit him. And so it's like a little clip on the back there. I lost one of these before when I put it on my bike because it bounced out and fell off. Hopefully that doesn't happen with this, but at least if it does, it's kind of caged in with there. But so it's supposed to go, you know, it has a pretty bright light as you're going along, and then if it senses you stop, it gets brighter. So works as a bright light. Put it on your bicycle, put it on your moped, make you more visible, probably a little safer. At some point I might figure out how to put those brake, I pulled the brake switches off of those. So, and then works well. I might even, like the other bikes, put like a little L bracket over here and put one of the other ones on, because this, I think it dies after 8-9 seconds. It'll turn itself off. There you go. But if the bike's constantly moving or vibrating, it should keep it going until I stop, and then that's nice. It'll turn itself off so it doesn't like burn the light out. So, I think other than that, I need to maybe just put the sides on. I put this plate on. I was going to put a piece of tank trim here. See if I can find my stickers that fit. Maybe a bag carrier, or clean it really good first. It's, man, white does not stay white, and it's not the best paint job. Battery's on the way. Gonna test it. Still need to hook up my back brake. Need this little guy. And yeah. And then brake trying to get a brake on this was the other thing I was going to say. Is it's supposed to be a disc brake that attaches to this, but the room for that, man, is going to be like it almost looks like it lines up with this part of the fork, and I don't feel like going through and cutting out part of that. I don't think a disc brake's going to work on this as much as I'd like to do it. If there was a different type of fork, maybe on a rigid frame you could probably get it to work, but I think what I'm going to have to do is a U-brake, which would be the one that would fit around the fender and would clamp on down here. So it's got to be a kind of a longer one to get from this point down to this rim. So probably like 6 inches or so, 6 or 7 inches long. Hopefully they make them. Alright, catching up on the e-bike conversion. I don't remember where I left off. It's been a couple weeks, so I'll just do a quick brush over. Got the rear brake hooked up. Right now that's pretty much the only brake I have on there. Got the throttle, the hand grips on. I don't have a front brake. I was going to try to do a disc brake, but there's just not enough room, so I had gotten a bicycle brake similar to the one that they put on the original Chows. But these arm things right here really aren't long enough. So if I were to drill through there, sorry for the view, I kind of need some extensions. So I think this is what I'm going to go with. I mean, it may not be the greatest. Like, it might be 20% brake front and then 80% brake on the rear, but I feel like I have to have something on the front here just in case, or for emergencies. So I'll have to build maybe some sort of extension to get that to come down to where it's actually touching on the rim. So might be able to do that. I don't know if they sell anything like that. Maybe my friends that are into bikes have a solution. I mean, drilling through that may not be that fun, but I know the originals, some of the series ones that I've had these brakes on the front, so they didn't have the side mount. I still need to put the cap on this side, but I've got the throttle hooked up as is. And then I've put a smart light in the back here. Probably still put, so this one turns off after a couple seconds. I probably will still mount an L1 similar to this one. It's probably dead. Should be, there we go, on the side there. So this one stays on. So that one's kind of timed to go off to work as a brake light. This could be a running brake light. Or at some point I may just look for a secondary battery to run the headlight and the tail light off at once. But I just built a little bracket in there and just mounted a little smart light to it and put it on the brake function. So actually works pretty good. Got the toolbox on, and then the controller is in here. I built a little shelf. I put everything in the bag except for the throttle, which is hooked up. So basically all I have to do now is hook up the positive and negative. So I'm going to run it through the body around to my saddlebag to where my battery is. So I got a battery. It's got my positive and negative hookup. Just have to wire this. Maybe poke a hole in the bag or run it through the top here. Probably do that. That way I don't have to modify anything. Maybe do a little notch out on my rim here. But run it through, hook it up, and then I should be able to throttle and rear brake. And that's the goal next. So I've got some 12 gauge wire, flexible wire. And I'm going to hook this baby up and play around in the parking lot. Alright, so I got it all hooked up. Took it for a quick ride. Everything works good on it. The only thing is, it doesn't really get up to speed. So I don't know if maybe that's my controller or for some reason my throttle. But it only goes up to probably like, you know, where's the higher speed than that? And I do have the right battery, amp hour battery. But I mean, that's only like 10, 12 mile an hour. So far, success. I mean, it works. It's put together, it works as an e-bike. It just does not have the miles per hour that a moped would have. So I'm going to see if I can figure that part out and get it so that it's running a little bit faster. Be nice to do at least 28 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure what it's doing now is not 28 miles an hour. That was about top speed when I was doing. Let's touch it. Not too fast. I mean, pretty mild acceleration. So success along the lines of getting it to work as an e-bike, but so far I didn't complete getting it to run as fast as I wanted to. I don't know if maybe it's just because of this thing has a little limiter on it. Or what. So further research, or hey, maybe somebody watching this video can put one of these together and can hit me up and be like, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. You need to go into the controller and do this to the wire. We shall see. So not super fast. I have to figure out there's some sort of governor on it. But while I was riding it, this little thing came out down here. It actually slipped out, so the tire was like, yeah, rubbing on the inside. So I'm gonna have to undo this and put that cap on to prevent that from sliding down again. So that will be next. But overall, pretty good job, I guess. It's just got to figure out if there's a governor to make it go a little faster. Alright, catching up with the electric Ciao again. Still haven't got the front brake. Might just take it off. Back brake is good for now. But I do want to put the lock washer, if you can see that, it fits over the little cup there. Actually, you can see that it's starting to slide a little bit. So I'm going to open this up just enough that I can slide it on here. But to do that, I'm going to have to cut these wires down in this area, right here. That's my throttle. Right here, these I can just undo. So undo these, cut these, slide my washer all the way on, and then patch these tiny wires right here. That's it. This is for the controller, this is for the motor. So that's what I'm doing. So the build was successful, but the front fork is failing. So the way that these rocker shock forks work is that they still have a little bit of play from left to right. So as I was riding it, you know, and I would kind of get a little unequal pressure on the forks itself. So the disappointing thing is that the front rocker shocks are not going to work. I don't know if this little tab that was on here and would fit into the tab on the Ciaos kind of helped to stabilize it, but it could also be that these posts are a little bit smaller, and I don't think these washers set. Like if you had a spacer or a bearing in this area, would probably keep this a little bit more steady. But the wheel still rotates back and forth a little bit here. I'll show you. Probably see it. We go here. See how it's sometimes it's like touching the rim here at points. So unfortunately these forks aren't going to work. They're cooked. So what I'm going to try is to have these rigid forks that don't have any kind of shocks to have to worry about. I think these shocks would work if they had some sort of a stabilization on them. Kind of like, let's see, I think this one has one. Yeah, so these EBRs, which may have to wind up using these, have a shock stabilizer on it. So when these move up and down, they move up and down at the same rate. Whereas the ones that are on the Ciao over here are just free springs. So they're just kind of doing their own thing, which means they allow the tire to hit up here, and that is not a good thing. So this will be next. I'm going to paint this guy and see if we can get him to work. Might sit a little higher up or a little lower in the front here where it mounts at. That's pretty close. Gets right about there. And I guess if it doesn't work, then I could always try that EBR. I just set down on the floor over here because it has the front forks. It would be okay with that type. So going to paint this fork and give it a try. So that's probably where I will be picking up next video. Back to the electric Ciao again. Got a rigid front fork, so I'm going to take this one off and put it on because the Springer front fork isn't working. The unfortunate thing about this though is I have different hookups, so I can only do the one that hooks up there and there. I don't have, for the fender, I don't have the one that will go onto that spot. That one would be okay, but I have to try to borrow this one off of Christine's bike. She doesn't ride because it has the arms that go down into that area, and then it has the mounts there. So I really wanted to keep this with these vintage looking fenders. I guess if I have to switch up this front fork, this one will have to be that newer style black, or I can paint them. But then to get this one to match, either have to paint this one or replace it. I kind of like the way that. Yeah, so maybe I'll get another one to spray it kind of silverish. I don't think you can get them in chrome. So okay, all right. I'm going to take off this fork and put that fork on, and then I may change up to a different handlebar. Doing that now. All right. So I got it all put together and took it for a little ride, and it did pretty good. Definitely feeling the rigid frame. Doesn't look too bad. Now that I have this space back, I might actually look into getting that disc brake that attaches to here, and then see if I can maybe get my front brake to work. Took it for a quick ride. I put the little speedometer thing I have here on it. And it said it got up to 12 miles an hour, which, you know, it's not bad. If you're riding a bicycle and you didn't want to ride anymore and you wanted a throttle or a pedal assist at about 12 mile an hour. Not quite the 28 to 34 that it was saying on the website, but, you know, I think it's a pretty good deal overall. If anything, if I was to redo it, go with probably a 1500 watt front hub motor. That would get you around 30, 35. And then go with a bigger watt battery. This one's a 36. We'll go with like a 52 or a 48 volt. Get you up a little bit more. Also, maybe consider doing like a tank rack here with a battery here, and then maybe a support bar, and then you could hang the controller from the bar. Then you could leave this back area free for if you wanted to do another seat, like one of the videos I did where they have the foot pegs that come down and then the seat here. So that way, if you're taking this camping with you and you wanted to give someone else a ride, you could do that. But I don't know, just kind of created something because had a spark of imagination points, I guess. And this is probably about as far as I will go with it with this video. I may consider, once I start getting more work, getting a little busy, I probably will still do another video on the front brake here, and then maybe at some point sell this 750 watt motor and get a 1500 watt motor and put it on here. But I think overall it's pretty good success. Especially I got that front rigid fork on there. Alright. So I'm thinking in closing, the 750 watt motor with the 36 volt gets you around 12 to 13 miles per hour, which you found out. And then I think the 1000 watt 48 volt should get you around the California legal 20 mile an hour throttle only, no pedal assist. And then if you did 1500 watt 52 volt, I think that would put you up in the 30 mile per hour plus. I mean, that might get you up into 40 miles an hour depending on the bike weight and speed, I guess. But that one you'd probably want to plate it as a moped. So my next build, I think I would like to try the Leaf bike, and they've got a 20-inch 48 to 52 volt 1500 watt front hub, and that's without the controller or the battery price wise. And also I think there's tariffs. Yeah, tariffs suck. So once I get a little cash flow going, I want to try to do it again. I'd like to do a bigger battery, or a bigger engine, bigger battery, go a little faster, get it up to what normal moped speed would be. Also, I wouldn't mind looking into getting like maybe a triple tree shock fork. This one's got the stabilizer on it, 55.44 millimeters, so that should fit a Piaggio Ciao headset. It might be a little longer, like this part here might be a little bit longer than the neck tube, but you could always stack some washers or something on the bottom. It looks like this one is threaded. There's another one I was looking at too, but the cool thing about this, even if you don't go with or if you do go with the e-bike front hub, is that it should have the mounts for, yeah, there you go. So the mounts for the disc brake should already be on this, and you don't have any tabs in the way. So it would be cool to do a video to see if like mountain bike technology and e-bike technology, the triple tree, the forks they make for those, could be modified to fit mopeds. So these are some other ones that I was looking at. I guess the red one was basically the same version as that other one, but you know, who knows, maybe a little bit lightweight, maybe you have a rigid frame chow, maybe this will fit on there, be a more comfortable ride. You could use a bicycle front wheel with the bicycle disc brake on it. I know everybody's going crazy about the disc brakes lately. So maybe on another video. Doesn't seem to be too expensive. I can get one of these and see if I can fit it on a Piaggio Ciao and have a little better front fork suspension.